that the promise of Nigeria is not postponed but delivered today. The 2025 budget was introduced at a moment that demanded uncommon courage. It required confronting structural weaknesses long postponed, and it is important to place on record that the progress we are now witnessing under your administration, sir, has been achieved despite persistent skepticism, relentless criticisms, and the loud objections of naysayers and traducers who doubted both the necessity and the result of these reforms. These were difficult decisions, yet necessary ones, and they reflect a leadership willing to choose a long-term national interest over short-term benefits and comforts. As a result, we are now witnesses to measurable gains. Government revenues are improving. Public finance is being managed with greater discipline and transparency. Strategic investments in infrastructure, energy, agriculture, name them, human capital, are laying a firmer foundation for sustainable growth in our dear country. Nigeria is regaining confidence within its borders and in the eyes of the international community. Over the last 1 year, the 10th Senate, working in concert with the National Assembly, its brothers, has recorded one of the highest levels of legislative output in the history of our nation, passing record number of bills, including landmark legislations on security, economic reform, governance, judicial administration, electoral integrity, infrastructure development, and social protection. Some momentous outcomes of this legislative productivity are bills that have fundamentally reshaped Nigeria's reform architecture. The Senate, working with the House of Representatives, passed critical security sector legislations that strengthen coordination among security agencies, enhance intelligence sharing, and reinforce the legal framework for combating terrorism, banditry, and transnational crimes. Far-reaching economic and fiscal reforms. Those bills provided statutory backing for subsidy rationalization, public finance discipline, revenue mobilization, improve accountability in the management of national resources, improve access to justice, reduce procedural delays, and strengthen the independence and efficiency of key democratic institutions. Electoral and political process reforms are also being looked into to deepen the transparency, safeguard electoral integrity, and reinforce public confidence in democratic outcomes. In addition, transformative infrastructure, energy, and social protection legislation laid the legal framework and foundation for accelerated capital inflow into our dear country. The power sector reform, housing delivery, targeted support for the vulnerables, collective decisions, not merely adding to the statute books, but translating reform and intent into enforceable policy, stabilized governance, providing the legal scaffolding upon which your government is recovering the long-lost trust that Nigerians had for government. Prosperity is on the way under your renewed hope agenda, Mr. President. Progress still must be translated into prosperity, as you keep saying. Too many Nigerians continue to struggle with the cost of living. Too many young people seek dignified employment. Too many communities remain attack on our country. Rest in perfect peace. We do not see these tragedies as mere distant. It's the first duty of your administration, both at the national level and at transnational level. That is why the National Assembly remains committed to partnering with you, to working closely with you, to strengthen the legal and budgetary frameworks that support our security agencies, enhancing oversight to ensure accountability, and working in concert with the executive to confront the roots of insecurity with clarity, firmness, and Tinubu. One, for your prompt response to the call to defend democracy in our neighboring states of Benin Republic. You responded to that call, Mr. President, and that country is at peace. Congratulations. You made every Nigerian and every Democrat in the world proud. When freedom is threatened anywhere, freedom is at risk everywhere. So, Mr. President, the path of reform is rarely comfortable, but it is the only path that leads forward. Be encouraged. The National Assembly stands ready to work with you. We are working with you to strengthen the works that you are doing, to refine what must change, and to ensure that every naira appropriated serves the people who earn it. Many of us from agrarian societies know the story of the baobab tree. Knowing it is planted by authority, yet it is planted all the same by patriots, because posterity will one day share and shed the shelter. The planters ensure and endure the labor. Those who come after enjoy the comfort, but the village prospers because everyone agrees to protect it and to water the tree. That is the spirit of the renewed hope agenda. That is the meaning, the demands of budgeting. It is not about the applause of today, but the shed of tomorrow. Not about our labor, but who will benefit. It is only when leadership and institutions act together as planters, not spectators, that the tree of national prosperity can truly grow. We welcome you, Mr. President. To fellow Nigerians, our national story has never been one of perfection. It has always been a story of perseverance, a people who debate passionately and boldly. Let me say, Mr. President, that the National Assembly is ready for you. We are ready to receive the 2026 budget. We share in all the pains you have got under of your administration. Only one concern, Mr. President. As we direct the security agencies to withdraw policemen from critical areas, some of the National Assembly members said I should let you know that they may not be able to go home today because they may be picked up. So on that note, we plead with the President for a review of the decision. May God bless you. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And may God bless our National Assembly.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. People, great minds, great thinkers, and the essence of our democracy. Members of the cabinet that are here, Your Excellencies, the Governor, past and present, it's good to be back. To a well-familiar terrain. Ladies and gentlemen, and fellow Nigerians, I am here today to fulfill an essential constitutional obligation by presenting the 2026 appropriation bill to this esteemed joint session of the National Assembly for your consideration. Before I go any further, let me be upfront with you, avoiding abandoned projects, unpaid contractual obligations. A defining moment in our national journey of reform and transformation. Over the last 2.5 years, my government has methodically confronted stabilize our economy, rebuild confidence, and lay a durable foundation for the construction of a more resilient, inclusive, and dynamic Nigeria. Though necessary, the reforms have not been painless. Families and businesses have faced pressure. Established systems have been disrupted and tested. The budget execution has been tested as well. I acknowledge these difficulties plainly. Yet I'm here today to assure Nigerians that their sacrifices are not in vain. We are already out of that dark tunnel of uncertainty, economic volatility, and lack of inclusiveness. Economy, I'm proud, has turned the corner. Though it is the surest route to lasting stability and shared prosperity. Today, I present a budget that consolidates our gains, strengthens our resilience, and takes this country from out of the dark tunnel of hopelessness, from the survivor to growth. The 2026 budget is themed budget of consolidation, renewed resilience, and shared prosperity. It reflects our determination to lock in macroeconomic stability, deepen competitiveness, and ensure that growth translates into decent jobs, rising incomes, and a better quality of life across every corner of Nigeria and for every Nigerian. Mr. Chairman, the leadership of the National Assembly, while the global outlook continues to improve, this budget aims to further strengthen our Nigeria, that our reform efforts are already yielding measurable results. One, our economy grew by 3.98% in the third quarter of year 2025, up from 3.86% in the third quarter of year 2024, year in, year out. Inflation has moderated for 8 consecutive months, with headline inflation declining to 14.45% in March 2025. We're stabilizing food and energy prices, tighter monetary conditions, improving supply responses. We expect the deflationary trend to persist over the year 2026 or rising, barring major supply shocks. By enhanced security, technology development, and sector reforms. 4, not all revenues have expanded significantly through better tax administration. Thank you for passing the tax bill. Investor confidence is returning, reflected in capital inflow. Renewed project financing and strong private sector participation. Our external reserve rose to a 7-year high of about $47 billion, priced over 10 months of import cover and a more substantial buffer against shocks. These outcomes are not accidental or luck. They are the consequence of our difficult policy choices. Our next objective is to deepen our gains in the pursuit of enduring and inclusive prosperity. Mr. Chairman, distinguished members, our 2025 budget implementation faced the reality of a transition and competing execution demands. As of the third quarter, 18.6 trillion naira in revenue, representing 61% of our target. That's poor. And 24.6% in 60% of our target. Following the extension of the 2024 capital budget execution, the December 2025, a total of 2.23 trillion naira was released for implementation of the 2024 projects as of June 2025. While physical challenges persisted, the government met its key obligations. All key obligations are met. However, only 3.10 trillion naira, about 17% of 2025 capital budget, was released as of the third quarter, reflecting the emphasis on completing priority projects. All the 2024 capital projects during the transition period. Let me be clear. 2026 will be a year of stronger discipline in budget execution. I have issued directives to the Honorable Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, the Honorable Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, the Accountant General of the Federation, to ensure that the 2026 budget is implemented strictly in line with appropriated details and timelines. We expect improved revenue performance through the new year. The new National Tax Act and the ongoing reform in the oil and gas sector. Reform designed not merely to raise revenue, but to drive transparency, efficiency, fairness, and long-term value in our physical architecture. I have also provided an institutional scorecard. Nigeria can no longer afford leakages, inefficiencies, or underperformance in strategic agencies. Every institution must play per day. And 3, an average exchange rate of 1.4 naira to the US dollar for the 2026 fiscal year. We will continue to reduce waste, strengthen controls, excuse me, strengthen controls, and ensure that every Nigerian borrowed or spent delivers measurable public value. Our allocation reflects the renewed hope agenda and the practical needs of Nigerians. Key sectorial provisions. Key sectorial provisions include defense, security. Defense and security will take 5.41 trillion naira. Infrastructure will follow with 3.56 trillion naira. Education will follow with 3.52 trillion naira. Health and social services will be 2.48 trillion naira. These priorities are interlinked. Without security, investment will not thrive. Without education, structure, job and enterprises will not scale. This budget is therefore designed to provide a single coherent program of national renewal, a national security and peace building. National security remains the foundation of development. The 2026 budget strengthens support for modernization of armed forces, intelligence-driven pricing and joint operations, border security, and technology-enabled surveillance and community-based peace building and conflict prevention. We will invest in security with clear accountability for outcomes, boosting the effectiveness of our fighting forces with cutting-edge equipment and other hardware. New era of criminal justice. Violent cults, forest-based armed groups, and foreign-linked mercenaries will all be targeted. We will go after all those who perpetrated violence for political or sectarian ends, along with those no nation can grow beyond the quality of its people. The 2026 budget strengthens investment in education, skills, healthcare, and social protection. In education, we are expanding access to higher education through the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Over 780 1,000 students have been supported in partnership with 229 tertiary institutions nationwide, and strategic investment to unlock private capital. We will take decisive steps to strengthen agricultural markets. Food security shall remain a national priority. The 2026 budget focuses on input financing and mechanization, irrigation and climate resilient agriculture, storage and processing, and agro-value chain. This measure will reduce post-harvest losses, improve incomes for small-scale holders, deepen our skill, deepen agro-industrialization, times for government contracts and better enforcement procedures directed against erring contractors and government officials has been established to encourage self-sufficiency and sustainable growth within Nigeria by promoting domestic products and businesses. Therefore, 2026 will be guided by 3 practical commitments and compliance. Better spending by prioritizing projects that can be completed, measured, and felt by the citizens. Better accountability through strengthening of procurement discipline, monitoring, and reporting.